Hey, footy fans, you ready for some more footy fun with Footy Fin and reflecting on the first game in the final round, round 27 tonight? The Melbourne Storm beat the Broncos 50 points to 12 at the Broncos' home ground, Lang Park, Suncorp Stadium this evening. 50 points to 12. Now, I didn't even bother doing a tip for this game. It's obvious I would have tipped Melbourne. Anyone would, right? They weren't even resting most of their players like they did last week. So that's the end of the Broncos season, sadly, for 2024. You know, it's Mad Monday on next Monday. Interestingly, the last two games for the Broncos have both been home games. Collectively, they've lost 90 points to 18 to a combination of the Dolphins and the Storm. And I was just reflecting what a difference a year makes. So tonight is the 5th of September. Just on 1 year ago, on the 8th of September last year, at the same ground, I was there, week one of the finals, 2023, Brisbane thrashed Melbourne 26-0. So that's a turnaround of 26 plus 38, which is about 64. Massive turnaround. And look, it is kind of sad. I do have a soft spot for the Broncos, but the wheels have just fallen off the cart this year, or the cart's disconnected from the horse, or whatever analogy you can make there. But something's gone wrong. Of course, tonight they're missing Haas, Mam, and Walsh, but that's no excuse for those two thrashings in the last two weekends. Losses are okay. It's just very sad for a club that got within 10 minutes of winning last year's grand final, only to be beaten by a bit of a defensive slip. Look, is Kevy Walters' job in danger? I don't know. Maybe he's protected because he's kind of Broncos royalty. I'm not sure. But I also wanted to reflect on the fact that what is it, and tell us a bit about teams that make it to a grand final, lose the grand final, and then never quite get back to that GF, let alone winning a premiership. So if you contrast that to, say, Penrith in 2020, they made it to the grand final. They were sort of favourites, but they were beaten by the more experienced Melbourne Storm, but then they came back and won a grand final. Contrast that with the Broncos from 2023, the Eels from 2022. They're battling for the wooden spoon now tomorrow. The Rabbitohs from 2021, they're down near the bottom of the table. The Raiders from 2019 haven't come back to those heights. The Broncos from 2015. It's very sad to see the Broncos, 2 out of the top 5 or the most recent 5 in this list. It didn't used to be the case 20 plus years ago. The Bulldogs in 2012 and 2014. The Wars in 2011. You could ask, what about the Cowboys in 2005? They lost to GF. Now, JT, as far as I'm aware, is the only common denominator from 05 to 10 years later when they won the GF. I'm still going to draw a bit of a parallel there and say maybe they don't belong in this club. Then the Eels from 2001, and then the Dragons from 1999 and 92 and 93. The Dragons are in that club a lot. There are other ones in the club from the 90s. And hit me up in the comments. Can you think of a team from the late 80s that's also in this club? And then the Dragons from earlier in the 80s. Anyway, look, it's a sad state of affairs, but that's life. Shit happens, right? And on with the show. Anyway, RIP the Broncos from 2024. That's it. From here on anyway, fins up. Can't wait for Sunday afternoon, 4 p.m. from Newcastle. The Dolphins versus the Knights, a playoff rate spot. Basically, look out, I'm going to do a preview of that game and some tips. But until further notice, RIP to the Brisbane Broncos. Season's over. It's a sad way to end, but that's life. C'est la vie. Till next time, catch you out around the left edge. See ya.